Okay, hello. This is my second time recording this. Well, this is my new draft. I have made some revisions to this video. Anyways, this is a new draft. The original, first of all, had some audio issues. This cat. The first version had some audio issues, so I'm recording it for that purpose. And then also I felt like I didn't really give enough detail as to how my 2022 went. This is the 2022 experience, by the way. I'm trying to make it like a yearly thing. Obviously, I'm very late. In terms of the videos, you know, we had Psychonauts, we had Escapist 2, we had the Operation Tango experience, all of which were, you know, different in their own rights. You know, one of them was full group, one of them was a duo video, and one of them was solo. I think, you know, surprisingly enough to me, the Psychonauts video is by far my favorite, which is a good step for myself because I have normally felt like I can't really carry a solo project as well as I can where I'm featuring other people, because I feel like I sort of bounce off others decently well. It's easier to, you know, joke around in the moment rather than, you know, when you're sitting alone in front of a camera. But I think I stepped outside of my comfort zone for a decent amount of the Psychonauts video. Personally, a bad collectible can kind of kill replay value. Just don't collect the annoying ones, you say. It's not that simple. I'm a completionist.
No figment left behind, soldier!
In terms of my delivery, you know, there's some more quirky parts that I would, you know, normally be a little afraid to include in a video because someone might perceive it as cringy. And I think kind of getting over that fear of, you know, what if someone thinks this is stupid or cringy, for lack of a better word, you know, just do it. Just if you think it's funny, just do it. And, you know, I've always heard that line of advice, but I don't think I've really followed it as well as I did in the Psychonauts video until the Psychonauts video. That's, you know, like a big personal thing for me. I think that was good for me and my projects. We'll call them projects. Now, the sort of disappointing part about 2022 was just the lack of stuff that I got out there, which I am definitely looking to remedy. You'd think that it would just be all progress on that video. It's not the case. I mean, I've had things going on, so it's hard to just, you know, work on it, but they're definitely, I haven't been working on it this whole time. It's not, you know, something I've been slaving away on, some insane video. I just kind of lacked motivation for a while, and nothing got done. But more recently, I have been working on it, as well as some other stuff, so I'm feeling a lot more confident that I can get that out pretty soon. Starting with this is my kick in the butt to get the ball rolling. And for those unaware, it is a Stranger Things video. I'm kind of just, part of the motivation issue was that I watched season 4. I was like, I gotta make a video on this. I started writing the script, and then like 10 paragraphs in, I was like, wait, is that how that happened? I found myself questioning what I was writing because I didn't take notes when I initially watched the season because I wasn't initially planning on making a video on it. So then I went through and watched the season again, taking notes, and it was a laborious process. I'm not going to spoil it, but, you know, it wasn't my favorite thing. You know, repeating media, especially in such a, especially so soon after I just watched it, is not my favorite thing to do, honestly. You know, like, this sounds like a silly comparison, but when I was younger, if for whatever reason I lost like a save file on a game or something like that, I would not jump back into it. I would be essentially demotivated from playing the game because I already experienced that first part that I had that initial save file on. That's not how I feel. I want to kind of push through it because I am passionate about this video, and it's not just about the new season or the newer season. It's not very new anymore, but it's not just about that one. It's sort of about the trajectory, I would say, of the show. So yeah, look forward to that. Also look forward to some other stuff. I mean, you can go over to my Clips channel. You can go over to my SyphroPlays channel for, more regular videos. SyphroPlays. The other thing that kind of killed my motivation in 2022 was this thing right here. This beautiful, beautiful pre-built piece of garbage. It just fucking restarted and crashed all the time. It basically was just full restarting. It wasn't like blue screening. It wasn't crashing my game or any like OBS or anything like that. It was just straight up restarting my whole computer, and it sucked. It sucked real bad, because then I would lose the footage, because I recorded it in MP4, and it's not really logistical for me for whatever reason. Well, I guess the main reason would probably be because it's long format, but like recording with OBS in MVK, I think is what it is, or MKV. I think it's MKV, and then remuxing it in VLC, it just takes forever. And that process, I mean, granted, I'm not like pumping shit out right now, and also it kind of worries me about like the quality, like potential loss of quality. It's depressing. It's very depressing to know that stuff is just gone forever. It's very upsetting for someone like me personally. Moments and memories that you could never get back, because like you can't keep everything up here. It's impossible, and even if you can, you can't really share it with anyone. It's just very upsetting for me personally. That's the reason I record my gameplay, is to share it with people. However, the update on that is that I actually installed an AIO, I believe is what it's called. I had like a stock CPU cooler, and I think I'm like pretty sure that I fixed the issue, because I mean, I've only done one really big gaming session since, but I haven't crashed. I recorded grounded, didn't crash. Also, the quality on grounded didn't dip like it did in the footage where I played it without this cooler. Sort of on a more positive note, some of my more enjoyable experiences from 2022. There were a good amount of games that we played from the current year, which isn't typical of me. I think sometimes I'm like a year or two behind. Sometimes I'm playing more classic or retro games. But this year we really dipped into a lot of newer experiences. Whether it was me alone or whether it was my friends and I.
Oh,
he's right down the corridor. Yeah.
Okay.
Teleported. Oh, what the fuck? 5, 4, 3. It was.
Damn it.
It was a valiant effort.
Well,
so as for 2022 experiences, I have sort of compiled a top 10, I guess. Things that either I did alone or I did with my friends that I really enjoyed. I do want to give a quick honorable mention or shout out to Theo's Quest, which was fun and enjoyable. I just didn't get back to the game after a second, so that's my number 11. Now, number 10, I wouldn't necessarily call this a good game, but it was fun. Initially, it was good, and then it kind of derailed. That's As Dusk Falls. I think, that the first 3 chapters of that game are really, I wouldn't say really good, but they're entertaining.
Oh no!
should have just given him the watch.
Yeah, get it! Yeah!
Yes!
Yeah!
Yeah!
And then it kind of gets frustrating and not as fun.
Oh, no. Don't you understand? It's not my money. Paul, how could you do this to me?
You deserve it.
Dude, this is just, everything's just great. Everyone's mean. Everyone's a villain now. Now we're in the villain. Everyone's a villain, except this man.
Paul's good.
You're just unfortunate.
But it's still fun to make fun of in those last 3.
Later, nerd.
Oh no!
Playing like a cat. Playing like a cat.
Spider-Man.
That one image just. I love it.
Yeah, I mean it was good, but it was more of a fun experience, you know, like making fun of it.
Dude, what if Zoe's and his kid?
Mistake.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Knew it.
Was it good?
I can't. I gotta go. I'm sorry.
I mean, Jonathan and I can't override, so.
Worth it?
Was it worth
Yes.
what?
No.
it? Whoa!
I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
Number 9 is a game that I enjoyed, but I felt was still pretty flawed, and that is Cult of the Lamb. The sort of roguelite aspects of it were either not needed or they were poorly implemented, but yeah, everything else about the game is cool. I mean, I'm not a big person on like colony management games or like, you know, that sort of, I guess, kind of Animal Crossing vibe that it had. But, you know, the combat was fun. Some of the card effects were fun. The final boss was not fun. Oh, shit. Oh, God. Oh, what the fuck? What? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, what the... Oh, my God. This is actual bullshit. What the fuck am I supposed to do there? We have 3 curses at our disposal. Fuck. Fuck. Yeah, whatever. Oh, no! Alright. They're just not attacking, I guess. The game has pitied me enough. Don't tell me it's glitched. This is a good attempt. Come on. I guess we just go to main menu. I wonder if it'll put me in the fight. I doubt it. Yep. Am I mad? Yes. Am I furious? Yes. Thank you. Oh shit. I've... What? What the fuck? What the fuck you, game? What did I just do? What? What? I won? I think it had a pretty healthy challenge up until the final boss, and then I think it was kind of bullshit. I mean, I ended up finding sort of something that worked for me, but it kind of felt like if you didn't get the right weapon and the right spell, whatever it's called, that you were just screwed. I was playing it on the highest difficulty, so maybe that's also a factor. Yeah, it seemed a bit overtuned. I think what could have helped the final boss is maybe like you get to choose 2 cards, because another thing that felt weird to me was, you know, the idea that these cards are integral to all the roguelite sort of runs that you're doing throughout the game, but then there's absolutely none of them in the final boss. But yeah, I mean, other than that, there's a lot to enjoy about the game. The art style, the mini games in it. It has a fishing mini game. Everyone loves a fishing mini game. Anyways, don't want to hang on too long for one specific game. So up next we have Mad Adventures. It's like a Fall Guys knockoff, but it was free, and we figured we'd give it a chance, and it was surprisingly very fun. I initially thought it was actually made by the same people who made Muck. No relation, as far as I'm aware. You know, there were some really cool things about that game, like the character customization. It could have used a few more game modes or like maps for certain game modes. But like the concept of having a lobby-wide upgrade system was pretty cool. It's a pretty interesting concept that I think you could kind of tinker around with, because I don't think it was perfect, but you know, as it was pretty entertaining, especially for a free experience, so it's at least worth experiencing. Oh wait, shit. Oh, I definitely forgot to.
Why'd you hit me? Why did you have to like? Shit.
Also, the idea of fighting the boss at the end of a run, it could have used a couple more bosses aside from Mr. fucking Cube and the dragon at the end. But yeah, that concept was pretty cool as well. And then sort of ending it off with a fight to the death, which was a little iffy.
Watch that hole in front of you. Oh no, that's exactly what I did.
Sentient.
Nice.
Oops. Oh
No, what the? This coin. What are you doing?
I didn't mean to
Jesus
do that.
Christ.
Oh my
Do I still have my
How's it
crown?
doing?
Please tell me I still have my crown. Fuck! Number 7, we have plate up. Give me like 20 seconds.
Holy shit.
You get a lot more mileage out of that game than I think you would initially assume. It's not like an insane amount, but it's definitely it goes a long way. It does sort of feel like certain play styles and options are sort of the go-to, and you're kind of pinned into that because things can get chaotic very quickly if you keep adding like side dishes, for example.
Decreased messes created by customers. Well, we've already got decreased messes.
Yeah, I don't want to do the cheese
Yeah,
board.
I'm down for that.
We have
That was a
very
shit show.
normal restaurant.
It feels like choosing a certain option is certain death, essentially. So that's sort of my main complaint about that game. After playing that game, you and your friends will want to open a restaurant together and, do it for real. It's that compelling, I think. It has some neat elements. I like the upgrade system. Very cool. I like the different meals and how you can, like pizza's my favorite. I go like a freak and I get all this shit done real quick.
We know how to make pizza.
Well, Jake knows.
True. I'm the pizza boy. I was normally the chef. I hated the steaks because of how messy they made the floor. But, they can't all be winners in my book. After that, we have number 6, Frogun. Frogun was a really nice, refreshing experience for me. It was a pretty interesting 3D platformer where you primarily use a grapple hook in the form of a frog gun that latches its tongue and pulls you towards your target. Well, if it's like a wall. If it's an enemy, it pulls the enemy towards you. Regardless. Grapple frog grapple. Maybe that would have been a better title. I don't want to get too into it, but the ending of that game kind of wasn't it. Like the secret levels and the bonus content, and sort of how you get 100% felt bad. I'll just say that. I don't think it's fixed, but it's also just, optional stuff. For me, as a person who wanted to get 100% in the game, it felt really bad. But I understand it not being like a top priority. It just feels like it should have been something that was thought about. Like, hey, you don't have enough coins to get all this stuff. You have to play the same level for 3 hours to get all your coins. I'm free! I'm free! Anyways, then we have Pulsar. Pulsar was not released in 2022, but it had an expansion that was released in 2022, a free new campaign, and it was an underwater campaign, and it was really neat. It probably would have been higher on this list, but we didn't get to finish it, primarily because I kept crashing. Thanks, computer. So yeah, now that I have this sort of fixed, I'm hoping we can go back to it, experience it in full, and maybe it'll move up a bit more in this list that won't be updated ever. But in my head, it'll sort of, maybe I'll remedy it in the 2023 experience. Who knows? But after that, we have The Spirit and the Mouse. Our story begins on a cold, rainy night in the quaint village of Sainte Claire. I didn't think I would enjoy as much as I did. It's very quaint. You could probably call it like a Stray-esque game where you're not really platforming. Did you play Stray?
No, I can kind of tell it wasn't really my thing.
Yeah. This one has more like mini games from what I can tell.
Yeah, it looked a little bit like just like a kind of a version of like Mario, like run around with some type of platforming power, even though you're not jumping, but like, getting up, help a bunch of people do a bunch of side quests for a bunch of collectibles, and then collect all the collectibles to win type thing.
It definitely felt like, I would say Mario in terms of like mini game gameplay mechanics, a lot like certain Mario games.
That's a really weird.
There's no like consequences for falling off an edge, for example, aside from like a brief stun window. Goodbye to cruel world. Okay, I'm fine. And yeah, I think it was really cool how you basically just did a bunch of mini games. I think they did a really good job of diversifying the mini games, and making sure that it was a very fresh experience for each, sort of mission that you're doing. I think that's actually the greatest strength of the game, is that everything was just, there wasn't much repetition. It just felt like it utilized its resources as a game very well. I'll say that. The exploration aspects of the game were also very good. There were some well-hidden things. The sort of light bulbs that you go around and find, pretty cool. It was a little unfortunate that they put all the light bulbs that were underneath pots underneath the same exact pot model. I feel like that could have used some switching up. But whatever. Who cares? It's a little mouse game, mouse simulator. Also, I thought it was kind of funny that you could kind of argue that maybe this game has some Metroidvania aspects. Obviously, I'm not going to call it a Metroidvania. This is a Metroidvania at heart.
That is stupid.
I just think it's funny to say the spirit in the mouse is a Metroidvania. I mean, you unlock new areas by getting new abilities, so I don't know, guys. Sounds like a Metroidvania to me. A 3D Metroidvania with auto platforming. Crazy. But yeah, it was good. The ending was a little flat, but it was an overall solid experience. Anyways, number 3, we have Ember Knights, which we technically played in 2023, but I also am filming this in 2023, and I fixed my computer in 2023, so we're talking about some 2023 stuff as well. But I wanted to include it because it was released in 2022, and it really deserves the mention, and it's still being updated because it's not the full game yet. There's no final boss in the game. I mean, there's a final bosses, but it's not the final boss. And it's a game that I think has quite a bit of potential. There's definitely areas for improvement, and maybe with those areas for improvement existing, it's a little too high, but I think it's exactly where it needs to be to set itself up for an amazing experience. And I think maybe sort of the best way to describe it is that it's kind of like a not as good multiplayer Hades. You have a similar weapon system, weapon breakdown. That's about it. I mean, the rooms are kind of similar. It has like the room rewards on the door for the next place you go to. I like the way it utilizes its spell system, where you sort of have to get in there and do some hits before you can get your next spell. I think that really incentivizes actually moving the gameplay onwards instead of sitting back and waiting for a cooldown, because it's not a cooldown, it's a hit down. You gotta hit the enemies to get your spells back. Spells are not even necessarily the strongest part of your kit, though. Your attacks can also be quite strong. I mean, it depends, but sometimes your attacks are doing more damage in general than your spells are. They're just kind of like a nice utility thing, or like a extra bit of damage that you can throw on. Things that could be improved on in this game include room diversity. It feels like, especially in the, I think, second area, feels like you're doing the same 3 rooms over and over again. More secrets. I think they do a good job in the first 2 areas with the secrets that they have. If they can keep adding on to that, that'd be great. Maybe a way to speed up the game a little bit. Oh yeah, that's it. Some of the bosses have very long invulnerability periods where they're also throwing out damaging attacks, and it feels very bad. And it's not like you're fighting ads during that time. It's just them being completely untargetable and just throwing out shit for you to dodge. And it's like, dude, I just want to kill the boss. Please stop this. That kind of sucks, but overall, it's a great experience. A great game to play with your friends, especially. I really like all the weapons except for the bow, as per usual. I'm not a big bow guy. I think it's too slow and clunky, but everything else is fun. Also, the weapon upgrades that you get eventually, very good as well, which is another similar aspect to Hades, is that you kind of get new effects for your weapons. It's a complaint that I think we all sort of shared amongst us in the group was that the relics could use a bit more synergy. A lot of them feel like very dull effects. You sort of grab one, it's like, okay, I guess, but some are very impactful, some are barely noticeable. Kind of sucks in that sense, but they can't all be winners, obviously. But I think you can kind of make it feel a bit better by having synergy built in and have a few more meaningful relics. Anyways, number 2 is also not a game that was released in 2022, but it's a game that I played a lot of in 2022, and it did have an expansion in 2022, and that's Gunfire Reborn. I love hand jobs. Added 2 new characters, a new game mode. Did they add a new boss? I can't remember. And the new game mode has a new boss, but I can't remember if the base game has a new boss. Anyways, fantastic game. Might be one of my favorite roguelites of all time. I mean, you got Hades and Risk of Rain 2 up there, but Gunfire is in my top 3, I'm pretty sure. Where it sits in that top 3 is yet to be determined, but it's a fantastic game. I think I'm surprised at how hard your level up system scales in that game. Like, getting the points in your skill tree is just actually insanely impactful on your run. I just didn't, like, you know, when you're level 70 and you're having a hard time beating a certain difficulty, it feels like you're just like not ever gonna beat that difficulty even with more and more points in your skill tree, but it really does make a difference. The coolest thing about that game is just the variety of weapons. There's so much to experience in that game. Oh, the fucking scrolls in that game are insane as well. No 2 runs in that game, and you hear this a lot for roguelites, but no 2 runs are the same. And in this game, it's so much so that it's almost to a detriment. Like, you'll never ever see this amazing build that you got ever again, because it's just impossible. There's too much stuff. I mean, it's not too much stuff in a bad way, but like a little bit. But it's just such a fun game, and the characters have like a meaningful enough difference between each other that it also changes in that aspect. So 100% wholeheartedly recommend it. Now, number 1 is another thing that wasn't released in 2022, but it was by far my favorite thing that I did this year. It was, you know, the game itself and the video that I made on it. It's Psychonauts, of course. Obviously, nothing short of a classic. I can't really, you know, say much more than what I've said in my video and what people have said over the years, but it deserves to be in this spot regardless, even if it's been talked about to death.
But it's all about the milkman. Can't you see?
Maybe not to death, but, you know, it's been sufficiently spoken on. We'll say that. But yeah, obviously it was a great game. I'm excited to do Psychonauts 2 this year at some point. Hopefully it lives up to my expectations. Such a fantastic game, nearly flawless. And it's one of my favorite platformers now of all time. Just like, you know, the level diversity is insane. Just, you know, things that you do from level to level. It's like every level is a game in itself. It's so crazy how good that game is. Just the creativity that's oozing from it. Oops, sorry. What the hell? What's going on?
The peaceful city of Lungfishopolis is under attack tonight by a hideous, gigantic monster the terrified citizens have named Goggalor.
That's pretty much everything. Hope you guys enjoyed my little list at the end of this video. Hopefully it didn't drag on too long, but yeah, we're looking forward to 2023. It's gonna be even better than 2022 for the channel's purposes. Hopefully you guys are as excited as I am, because I have lots of plans for the upcoming months, and then yeah, we'll see what happens from there. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.